Have you ever felt a chill run down your spine in an empty room? That unmistakable sensation of being watched when no one is there? This feeling isn't merely imagination. It's an acknowledgement of what many spiritual traditions have understood for millennia. The veil between our world and the realm of those who have passed is far thinner than most realize. As a spiritual teacher, I've encountered countless individuals who share similar experiences, moments when they felt the unmistakable presence of a loved one who has crossed over. These aren't coincidences or tricks of an overactive mind. They represent genuine connections that transcend our physical understanding. Consider Sarah's experience. After losing her mother, she would often sit in her childhood home feeling utterly alone. Yet, in her deepest moments of grief, she described feeling a gentle warmth enveloping her, as if someone had placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. It wasn't imagination, she told me. The air changed. It felt charged with emotion, her emotion. I knew she was there. What Sarah experienced aligns with what Edgar once described as the continuity of consciousness. Why? This profound concept suggests that consciousness doesn't end with physical death, but transitions to another state of awareness, one where the deceased retain their identity, memories, and emotional connections to those still living. The spiritual dimension where our departed loved ones exist operates on different principles than our material world. Time flows differently there, not in the linear fashion we experience, but in emotional moments that create bridges between realms. When we experience intense emotions, particularly grief, longing, or moments of celebration, we unknowingly open doorways that allow the departed to draw nearer. I once worked with a grieving husband who claimed his late wife visited most often during significant family events. "She's never missed a birthday," he explained. "I can feel her standing beside me when I blow out the candles with our children." What he described wasn't wishful thinking, but a manifestation of what spiritual scholars call emotional anchoring, moments when our emotional energy creates pathways across dimensions. These connections become strongest in places of memory and emotional significance. Old family homes, bedrooms preserved as they once were, even personal objects like jewelry or clothing. These all serve as conduits. They contain energetic imprints that the departed can recognize and follow back to us. This is why so many report feeling presences near cherished mementos or in spaces shared with those who have passed. Maria, a woman I counseled after she lost her father, described finding his reading glasses moved from where she had placed them following his funeral. "They were exactly how he used to leave them, folded with one arm open," she said. "I asked everyone in the house, but no one had touched them." Such occurrences represent attempts at communication, ways for those beyond to remind us they remain present in our lives. What many fail to understand is that these presences aren't trapped or suffering. Rather, they remain close out of love and protection. The spiritual teachings of numerous traditions speak of this protective watching, souls who choose to remain near loved ones during times of transition or difficulty. They observe our struggles and joys, bearing witness to our continuing journey. This watching isn't invasive but protective, a continuation of the love they showed in life. A mother who passed continues to watch over her children. A husband still guards his wife. A friend maintains their silent support. They observe not to judge, but to love, not to interfere, but to accompany. Most powerfully, they observe us during our vulnerable moments, when tears fall, or when joy overwhelms. These heightened emotional states create energy that transcends dimensional boundaries. Your tears are seen. Your laughter is heard. Your struggles are witnessed by those who love you still. The limbo between worlds isn't a prison, but a choice for many souls. Some remain temporarily, ensuring loved ones find stability before moving forward in their own spiritual journey. Others stay longer, bound by unfinished emotional business or deep attachments. But this lingering isn't punishment. It's an expression of continued connection. When we speak of how the departed observe us, we must understand that their perception transcends our limited physical senses. The dead don't see in the way we do, through eyes that capture light. Their awareness encompasses energy, intention, and emotion in ways our physical minds struggle to comprehend. Many spiritual traditions teach that those who have crossed over perceive us through the luminous energy field that surrounds our physical bodies. What ancient wisdom traditions call the aura. This energetic blueprint carries our emotional state, our thoughts, and even our spiritual development. To the departed, these energetic signatures are as clear as physical features are to us, perhaps even more so. Thomas, a scientist who experienced a profound near-death experience during cardiac arrest, described this altered perception when he returned. It wasn't seeing as we understand it, he explained during our sessions. It was a complete knowing, as if I could perceive the essence of everything around me simultaneously. I didn't need eyes to see or ears to hear. I simply knew. This account aligns with countless testimonies from those who have briefly glimpsed the other side before returning. The non-linear nature of time in the spiritual realm means our departed loved ones can observe pivotal moments in our lives, regardless of when they occur. A grandmother who passed before her grandchild's wedding may still witness that sacred moment. A father gone too soon may still be present for his daughter's graduation. The limitations of chronological time do not bind those who have crossed the threshold. Consider the experience of Daniel, who lost his brother in a tragic accident. Years later, during his wedding, the photographer captured several images with unexplainable orbs of light surrounding the couple during their first dance. "My brother always said he wouldn't miss my wedding for the world," Daniel told me. I believe he kept that promise. Such manifestations of energy, often captured on film, represent attempts by those beyond to make their presence known during significant moments. The realm of the dead exists alongside ours, interpenetrating our reality in ways science is only beginning to explore. Quantum physics suggests the possibility of multiple dimensions existing simultaneously, separated only by vibrational frequency. Those who have passed simply exist at a different frequency, one usually beyond our perception, unless we cultivate the sensitivity to recognize it. A profound truth about how the departed observe us involves what spiritual teachings call resonance. They connect most easily with us when our energy matches theirs in some way. This explains why many report sensing their loved ones during meditation, prayer, or moments of peaceful reflection. By calming our minds and raising our vibrational state, we unconsciously align more closely with their frequency. "My husband visits me in that space between wakefulness and sleep," Jennifer shared during our grief counseling sessions. "It's when my mind is quiet enough to feel his presence." This liminal state, what ancient traditions call the hypnagogic state, thins the veil between worlds, allowing easier communication across dimensions. What many don't realize is that our thoughts about the departed actually create energetic pathways for connection. When you think lovingly about someone who has passed, you're essentially sending them an invitation, a beacon they can follow back to you. This is why so many report experiences of thinking about a loved one only to feel their presence moments later. The departed can observe not just our external actions, but our internal struggles. They witness our growth, our challenges, and our triumphs of spirit. They see beyond the masks we wear for others, perceiving our authentic selves with complete acceptance. This unconditional witnessing represents one of the greatest gifts they offer, the gift of being truly seen. Emily, who lost her teenage son, described feeling his presence most strongly when she finally allowed herself to laugh again after months of grief. "It was as if he was saying, 'It's okay, Mom. Be happy again,'" she recalled. "I could feel his approval, his joy that I was healing." This account demonstrates how those beyond celebrate our healing and growth, rather than wanting us to remain locked in perpetual grief. Spiritual wisdom suggests that the departed sometimes observe us to help guide our paths. They may attempt to communicate through dreams, synchronicities, or meaningful coincidences. Pay attention when repeatedly encountering certain symbols, numbers, or natural phenomena like specific birds or butterflies appearing at significant moments. These may represent attempts at communication, a language of spirit that transcends conventional understanding. The energy of grief creates a powerful beacon that the departed can easily perceive. Our tears, our longing, our spoken words to them, all generate vibrational patterns that reach across dimensions. They hear when you speak to them, whether aloud or in the silence of your heart. They perceive your memories as vivid, living energy, Many wonder why souls remain to observe the living after physical death. Is it attachment, unfinished business, or something more profound? The spiritual understanding I've gathered through years of study suggests their continued presence serves multiple purposes, both for them and for us. The relationship between the living and those who have crossed over is reciprocal, not one-sided. While we often focus on what we've lost, we seldom consider what our departed loved ones gain by maintaining their connection to us. Their observation isn't passive, it's an active participation in our continued journey and their own spiritual evolution. One of the most powerful reasons spirits observe the living is to provide protection. Maria, a mother of 3, shared a remarkable experience after losing her husband. I was driving with my children during a snowstorm when I clearly heard John's voice say, "Slow down now." Seconds later, a truck skidded across the road right where we would have been. The calm. This protective intervention represents a common theme in spiritual accounts: departed loved ones who continue their role as guardians. According to ancient wisdom that teachers like Edgar have helped illuminate, souls often remain connected to guide us through critical life transitions. They observe key decision points, attempting to offer subtle guidance through intuitive impressions, dreams, or synchronistic events. They don't control our choices, free will remains paramount, but they can illuminate paths we might otherwise overlook. Robert, a business executive, described receiving profound guidance during meditation after his mentor's passing. I was facing a crucial ethical decision at work when I felt his presence and remembered specific advice he'd given years before. It wasn't a voice, more like his wisdom suddenly becoming accessible in my mind. This experience exemplifies how the departed can offer guidance by helping us access wisdom we've already internalized. The souls of those who have passed also observe us to witness our healing. They understand the grief process from a higher perspective and recognize that our pain, while necessary, shouldn't become permanent. They celebrate when we find joy again, when we continue living fully despite our loss. This witnessing provides a form of closure for them as well, seeing that their passing hasn't permanently diminished our capacity for happiness. I worked with Elena, who lost her daughter to illness. During our sessions, she described feeling her daughter's presence most strongly when she finally returned to painting, an activity they had shared. It was as if she was sitting beside me, approving of my return to creativity, Elena said. I could feel her joy that I was reclaiming part of myself. This mutual healing represents one of the most beautiful aspects of the continued connection. Some souls observe the living to resolve unfinished emotional business, words left unsaid, apologies unmade, forgiveness not granted. These emotional loose ends can create attachments that keep spirits connected to the physical plane. By observing us, they seek opportunities for resolution, often attempting to communicate their unspoken messages through dreams or meaningful coincidences. James described recurring dreams of his estranged father after his passing. In every dream, he was trying to give me something, a box I couldn't see inside. After the 5th dream, I realized he was trying to give me his explanation, his side of why he left. This recognition allowed James to find forgiveness, which not only healed him, but potentially freed his father's spirit to progress further in its journey. The departed also observe to witness the ripple effects of their lives, how their influence continues through those they touched. A teacher sees how former students carry forward their lessons. Parents watch their values manifest in their children's choices. Friends observe how their kindness inspired others to live more compassionately. This continuation of their life's purpose provides profound meaning. Dr. Samantha Collins, who had devoted her life to medical research, passed before seeing her work reach fruition. Her research partner later reported sensing her presence strongly during the breakthrough that completed their project. It was as if she was there in the lab, witnessing the moment when everything came together, he explained. I felt her satisfaction, her sense that her work was complete. This completion of purpose represents a significant reason spirits remain connected. Perhaps most profoundly, those who have crossed over observe us because love transcends physical death. The emotional bonds we forge in life continue beyond the transition we call death. Love creates energetic connections that neither time nor dimensional boundaries can sever. They watch because they love still, because that connection remains vital and alive despite the transformation of form. Sarah, who lost her twin sister, described feeling her presence during her wedding day. I could feel her standing beside me as clearly as any of my bridesmaids. She was crying happy tears with everyone else. This continued sharing of significant life moments reflects the enduring nature of love beyond physical constraints. The spiritual understanding of why the departed observe us challenges our cultural tendency to see death as an ending. Instead, it reveals death as a transition, a change in form, but not in essence. Their continued watching represents not a haunting, but a loving accompaniment, not a clinging to what was, but a celebration of what continues. Understanding that our departed loved ones continue to observe us transforms how we might choose to live. This awareness doesn't diminish our autonomy, but enhances our appreciation for the continuing bonds that transcend physical death. In this final chapter, I'll share spiritual wisdom about how to consciously engage with this profound reality. First, recognize that acknowledging their presence doesn't require extraordinary psychic abilities. The most common way the departed make themselves known is through subtle shifts in energy, a sudden warmth in a cold room, an unexpected fragrance associated with them, or that unmistakable feeling of being watched with love. These aren't coincidences, but deliberate communications from beyond the veil. Patricia, a widow of 3 years, described how her late husband would make his presence known through their song playing unexpectedly on the radio during significant moments. It happened when our daughter announced her pregnancy, when our son got his degree, and on what would have been our anniversary, she explained. The timing was too perfect to be random. These synchronicities represent what spiritual traditions call signs of presence, tangible confirmations that our loved ones remain engaged with our lives. Learning to live with awareness of their observation means developing receptivity to these subtle communications. This doesn't require elaborate rituals or special tools, simply a willingness to maintain an open heart and attentive mind. The quiet moments often provide the clearest connection, the space between thoughts during meditation, the peaceful interlude before sleep, or solitary walks in nature when our minds naturally still. Many spiritual teachers, including Edgar, have emphasized that our thoughts about the departed create vibrations that reach them instantly. When you speak to them in your mind or heart, they perceive your communication. This understanding transforms grief. What was once one-sided longing becomes conscious conversation. They hear you when you speak to them, whether aloud or in silence. Michael, who lost his brother in military service, described maintaining a running conversation with him during difficult times. "I don't just talk about him, I talk to him," he said. "And sometimes I receive impressions or thoughts that couldn't possibly be my own, solutions I wouldn't have considered or comfort beyond my capacity to generate." This reciprocal communication represents one of the most healing aspects of acknowledging their continued presence. Dreams provide another significant avenue for connection with those beyond the veil. Spiritual wisdom distinguishes between ordinary dreams and visitation dreams. The latter possess a remarkable clarity and emotional intensity, leaving you with absolute certainty that genuine contact occurred. These dreams often feature direct messages, resolutions of unfinished business, or simple reassurances of continued love. Elizabeth described a visitation dream 3 months after losing her mother. She appeared younger and radiant with health. She told me she was fine and that she could see everything I was doing to care for Dad. The dream had a different quality, more real than reality itself. I woke with absolute certainty she had truly visited me. Such experiences offer profound comfort and confirmation that relationships continue in transformed ways. Living with awareness of their observation also means understanding they perceive our thoughts about them. When we remember them with joy rather than consuming sorrow, we create welcoming energy for their presence. This doesn't mean denying grief, which is natural and necessary, but gradually transforming it into loving remembrance that celebrates rather than just mourns. Dr. James Hartford, a grief counselor I've worked with, explains this beautifully. Grief is love with nowhere to go. By acknowledging their continued presence, we give that love somewhere to flow again. This perspective helps transform the pain of absence into the comfort of transformed presence. The departed observe not just special occasions, but ordinary moments. They witness our daily choices, our small kindnesses, our private integrity. Living with this awareness naturally encourages us toward our higher selves, not from fear of judgment, but from understanding that those who love us continue to bear witness to our unfolding story. Robert, who lost his father at a young age, shared how this awareness shaped his life. Knowing my father continues to see my choices gave me strength during difficult times. I wanted him to be proud of the man I was becoming. This motivation toward integrity represents one of the most powerful gifts of acknowledging their continued observation. Perhaps most importantly, understanding that the dead observe us challenges our cultural tendency to see death as the end of relationship. Instead, death transforms relationships into something new, something that transcends physical limitations while preserving the essence of connection. They remain part of our lives, not as memories alone, but as ongoing presences that continue to influence, guide, and love us from beyond the physical plane. Sarah, who lost her daughter, expressed this beautifully. I don't just remember Emma, I continue to parent her, just differently. Our relationship continues to evolve. I talk to her about what's happening in our family. I feel her growth and development continuing, just in another dimension. This continuing bond represents the healthiest form of grief integration, not moving on from those we've lost, but moving forward with them in transformed ways. The departed observe us from a place of expanded understanding. They see beyond our momentary struggles to the larger pattern of our lives. They witness our growth with compassion for our human limitations. And perhaps most comfortingly, they observe with perfect love, a love untainted by the fears and conditions that sometimes limited their earthly expressions of affection. As we conclude this exploration, remember that acknowledging their continued presence doesn't mean clinging to the past. Instead, it means recognizing that love, the most powerful force in existence, cannot be destroyed. Not by death, not by time, not by dimensional boundaries. They watch because they love still. And in that watching is a profound affirmation that relationships don't end. They merely transform into something our limited physical senses can't fully perceive, but our hearts can nonetheless know with certainty. Their observation isn't intrusion, but accompaniment, not haunting, but loving presence. And in that understanding is perhaps the greatest comfort we can find when facing the mystery of death. We are never truly separated from those we love. The veil between worlds is thin, and those who have crossed continue to witness our journey with perfect love and endless compassion. If this exploration of how the departed continue to observe and connect with us has resonated with your own experiences or brought you comfort, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel for more spiritual insights that bridge the seen and unseen worlds. Share your own stories of connection in the comments below. Your experiences may provide validation and healing for others on similar journeys. Remember, every time you share these profound truths, you help someone else feel less alone in their experiences. Subscribe now and join our community of seekers exploring the deeper mysteries of existence together.